Good morning, everyone. TheoSophia here. Wow, what a week we have had. We went to the retreat, the Yellow Diamond Retreat, and yesterday we had powerful messages. So, as we start here, I want you to contemplate. We're going to talk about change today. And even if we've talked about change before, I think and believe you've all experienced change a little bit differently within you, in your consciousness, in your energy, and how you feel and how you see. So let's get our normal things done and then we'll talk about it. So hopefully some of you will have thoughts or questions. So let's see. Let's start here with good morning to Chase. And thank you. Many blessings to you. And to Carol, thank you for coming. For I appreciate so much everybody who takes the time out to come to hear me and participate. Barbara, happy Easter to you. It's this weekend, right? Yes. And I hear some people take Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So God bless to all of you. That's who you are. Certainly, you all know how much Jesus and his experience means to me. And good morning to Marby and Kathy Marino. And remember, if you are here and like this channel, to do your thumbs up. I appreciate it. And Barbara Ward says hello to everyone. And Marby is also joining us. That's right, I mentioned you up there. I can't always keep track, I'm so sorry. So we're going to open our hearts and welcome Mother, Father, God deep within ourselves, deep within that heart. And if you can, in this breath, open and let it expand your heart to a greater feeling and knowing of the experience of freedom. We're going to be grateful for any of the phylums of the angels who've come and supported you and been around you this week. Certainly to allow them to come and be here today. And to all the ascended masters, we've had quite a few of them just walk into our world this week and give of themselves. And to any universal being who is walking the path of light and would like to be with like-minded souls or to learn, you're welcome to come and participate. But you must be walking the light, not deviating back and forth. All right? So let's do our mantra. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. Take a deep breath. Now, that fixed design we talk about right in that statement is one about becoming. We always say things as it is, but the true goal is to become that which is the fixed design of the enlightened being, the ascended soul. However you all and have your own language that you speak about it. But so change is inevitable for even those who don't really know that they're willing, because they can stamp their feet and say, I'm not willing to do anything different than what I already do. Well, it will happen. The one thing we know, that in resistance to change will bring change. And we don't have to figure it out. It'll figure it out for you. And who's it? Your consciousness will. Because it wants to be freer. It wants to grow. It wants to become, so that you know more and more of the truth. So, I want you all to think about this week and contemplate maybe how you've changed, how you feel different, how you can feel the frequency of your energy moving quicker, higher, how you feel calmer, more relaxed. And what is it? Are you unique? Has something unique occurred for you? Then share it with us. Because remember that in the basic of wholeness, we are all one. It's just we have at different times a piece releases and let go, but that same piece is within every soul. Like I mentioned, a couple that which came, other people that weren't even listening to that day had that same energy come, the peach and the blue, uh, together with the message of what I think it was Chase. Yes. So, yes, a lot about change. And we know that as we go to do our work in our inner realm for each of us, there are times that we hit resistance. There's no doubt. Resistance does exist in our world in many different forms. Not wanting to, not believing you need to, and not caring. And I hope that not caring is one that we've begun to bring a shift to mean that maybe now you care more than you did before, care more than you ever thought you would. Or maybe it's the realization that you didn't even know that it was something that could be more. Because we get used to what is, what we do when we wake up, what we eat, what we drink, how we live our day, what we do at night, what we watch, what we read, how we interact with people. Becoming on your path puts like a wave of light through it to waken it up to do so many different things that maybe you haven't ever done. Thought about it, but didn't assume you had time. So let's talk about the change of time. I know myself, I caught myself at 4 o'clock going, wow, the day's almost over. It is becoming so fast. I will agree with you. And I can remember when I was a little girl, so some of you may have felt the same thing. My mother telling me, oh, it only gets faster the more you get older. Well, I think also as the earth is spinning faster, time is moving faster, and we are evolving faster. And I do not like to think that we're getting older. We're getting more evolved and actually reversing and becoming younger. The masters will always tell you you will become 27. So you may not look it, but the consciousness of the mind is that which governs over all the cells. And your cells can make a choice in how they choose to reflect themselves into the world. That's a good word, right? So, do we have any questions out here about what's been going on inside of all you? I know there has to be something different. I know because I've talked to people who have watched and are having tremendous shifts in their awareness. So I want to be here for all of you if that's happening, and maybe you don't know what to do with it or how to think about it. Or do you even know that that means that something different is humming at a different frequency for you? It's all very exciting, but there need not be confusion. There needs simply to be the willingness to change. And when I have this channel named TheoSophia Rising, is with the intention that we all rise. Doesn't matter who we are, because it never ends. We will all continue rising. So when dramatic shifts happening, it's powerful to set a precedent. Aha, that's what this is. Maybe you felt uncomfortable. Maybe you felt different in a way you feel different sometimes, and maybe you didn't feel well. Well, reach out to me, and then I'll help you decipher that. And if you feel that you've reached that point where you don't need that, you can share that also. But we are all souls together here in this world. And when I hear masters say to me that we're all here to help the world, they didn't say, TheoSophia, you're the one here. They say we're all here to save the world. And in doing that, we must grow. We must change the stubbornness, perhaps, the resistance, what all we could have been at teenage years, and they still have it out there today. But the more we can change those parts of us is going to help us change our world. Because the peace we're looking for lies within our heart. So, however we want to stay where we are is not going to bring the peace we're looking for. For there are new depths, new perceptions, new ways of loving, new ways of perceiving. I could go on and on. That is opening opportunity for everyone. So, who's going to be first to come speak to me? Let's open this conversation platform today. Imagine you're just calling in on the radio. The radio. And let's see what you learned or felt different about this weekend. This week we've had. Was it DK touching your head? Was it seeing that Lady Isis was there for all of you? Was it being in the stream of higher conscious water that touched every cell of who you were? Was it going into the Egyptian room and remembering and having a flip moment, or even later if it came to you? Barbara Ward. I can always depend on you, Barbara. I agree that changes are happening. Now when I respond to events in a certain way, I reflect to myself, 3 months ago, you would not have even reacted like that. And that's exactly what I wanted to hear. But I want you all to hear it from each other. Something's happening. More light is evolving within you. And I'm so happy for you, Barbara. Because that part of you from before was lovely, for sure, but wasn't open to opportunity, wasn't open to walking the walk a new way, with a freer heart, with a greater love, with that pink light that the hand waves, right? That came in handy for me yesterday, Chase, just so yes, anyone else want to share? Because the more we share, the more it grows and within us, and it becomes touching everyone. Here's Chase. I am enjoying the journey to the light. Excellent. And I can feel your heart open as you can share what your heart's feeling. Even the smallest thing makes change, makes a difference. Very good. How about you, Kathy Marino? How are you feeling different? When you see, Barbara, when you go to make essences now, you won't make them from the person you used to be. You'll make them from who you're becoming. It's a wonderful thing. And over the years, some of these ascended beings and I become very close, partially for meeting them in Shasta, partially because I do spend a lot of time understanding and working and reading and writing all those different things. It's a passion. That's my driven part of me inside. But it isn't that it can't be however it's supposed to be for you. There's a hurdle, I believe, that I've seen from working with people. But once you get over that hurdle and the ease begin, something changes. Here's Barbara again. The baths in the stream left me feeling lighter. I know for sure my aura was cleansed, and that resulted in the lightness and spaciousness I now feel. Excellent. I spoke yesterday to someone who was at Shasta the last time we went. It's when I crushed my wrist. So my husband took everyone to that stream, Douglas, and did actual healing on them in the water. And that was her memory and how powerful. Imagine being in the water that creates that lightness by laying in it and going and having a powerful healing. Um, so it was memory sometimes this week for some people and what they've experienced and where they've been. But it's a wonderful thing to share that with all of you. I am going to start doing the shorts. And what's come to me is to show some of our amazing images that we have from Mount Shasta, of the auras, of how orbs looked in Shasta, not what you think, not what perhaps some people are looking for, and how the land chooses to be seen in that other realm that we're beginning to learn more about for you. It's powerful. And for some of you who yet don't see, seeing pictures that have aura and light in them helps to open that third eye and to help you believe, you know, and to understand that there's a deeper capacity, like Barbara's saying, of the heart in relationship. And it's not limited to people. It's a relationship to your aura, to your feelings, to the consciousness of your higher self as you and it work towards becoming in a meld and being one. That is one of the first huge hurdles for everyone, to allow their higher self to work through every chakra and take them through the patterns that need to be released so that they can walk this earth as their higher self. Yes, there'll be something next for you to grow to that is not the end. Just as completing ascension is not the end. There are many levels of ascension. And it used to be that, how do you determine if you're enlightened? And they would say, oh, well, there's no real way. And then it became the statement, well, when you know that you've always been, then you are. It's a nice statement. And I do say people that have reached enlightenment don't question it. And while some people would think that's an egotistical statement, it's actually a statement of knowing that comes from a different place in the heart, not the ego. And that's another thing that drops away, is the ego drops away. The ego wants to be heard and known and be right. That's another big thing about the ego to listen to within yourself. Do I have to be right? Do I have to have the last word? That is the ego. The part of you that has a knowing just kind of shrugs, because it's about you and what you know and to believe here, not from what others say. And that's a big shift for a lot of people, you see? Yeah. As I'm just being hot-winded and going on and on. So enlightenment, I have a great fondness for the Buddha. Someday I'll share my new yet old, beautiful blue Buddha that shows the light coming down and out of his heart. Not that I'm a Buddhist. I don't believe in that, I guess, dogma. And I'm not saying Buddhism isn't wonderful, but it wasn't my path. And yet Buddha was. I am the Buddha. And in becoming that, it's becoming nirvana. So you could say, well, what is nirvana? Nirvana is what other people would say an unlimited amount of peacefulness, an awakening, an awareness, a heightening, a quickening. You know, that light quotient goes from 0 to 100%. Someone who reaches nirvana is very near to 100%. And for those of you who muscle test, can muscle test and ask yourself, what percentage is my light quotient today? And even those who think they're very evolved could be 40, 50%. To begin to live harmlessness is at over 50%. So first ask yourself, do you choose to be harmless to every soul? To yourself, most importantly? And if that answer cannot be effortlessly yes, then we know you're below 50% right away. And we wouldn't think of one of the testing things would be being harmless in the world, you know. But I find it to be very powerful. As for me, as I mentor and work with people in evolving, we discover these places where we reach a place and everything's happy, and then there's another lunge once again to even a deeper place. Remember, patterns can be very deep and very long held deep within that part of you. But it always is more. And afterwards it releases a greater light to have a greater freedom. So, very powerful. And it's the journey you're on if you're on the path of light. And for myself, I've met many people. I've had few teachers. Because once you find a teacher, then and you kind of click, you don't need to look to another. My teacher in Thailand, I would say, is my favorite. If there's such a thing where I am as favoritism. And he didn't really see me in the beginning. His teacher told him. We were all at a gathering having dinner, and he was going to teach the first people the Babaji meditations. And I had not, neither had Douglas been asked to do that. He had picked 4 people. And his teacher came up and she said, well, what's wrong with her? She's pointing at me. She said, she's the most light in the room. Why aren't you teaching her? So that was our beginning. And certainly then Douglas and I were invited. And I became his favorite. So, does it matter? No. But I want you to understand what is meant to be your destiny. People can't keep from you or stop you in any way. For the masters and the angels are always around you, and they're always there to open doors and to show you how to open your heart and to find your way. The more light you become, and the more you and your heart and and the love of Mother and God become that part of you, the more there is a peace without, I want to say this correctly, without the bonds that people have today. Many people look to their bonding with people or things to bring them that happiness. And you could possibly say that that's scary, and yet it's freeing. That there's you, and there's God and Mother, and you're free. You don't have to think. You don't have to have energy for anything else. And just you and your work. All right, I'm not even paying attention to some people writing here. Here's Carol. The journey from the head to the wisdom of the heart continues for me on many areas of awareness. Ego enjoys speaking its truth. I know I must be awake and aware. And thank you, Carol, for sharing. It's beautiful. I'm going to repeat it. Carol has been mentoring with me for a while. The journey of the head to the wisdom of the heart continues for me on many areas of awareness. Ego enjoys speaking its truth. I know I must be awake and aware. You know, a lot of human people spend a lot of time and effort in learning knowledge. And what you do come to find out, and I'm not against that, but the wisdom is in your heart. So when you begin to work from this place, it isn't about what's in here. It's about the wisdom immersed in the peace and the harmony and the feeling of the love inside your heart. And that's the magic of God, is to know that that pink light is the answer, that pink light from ray 3. And yet you need the wisdom from ray 2 to illuminate, to know it. And then remember, ray 1 is the willingness to make that movement. So there are no mistakes in the rays. And again, very powerful what Carol's sharing here. She's not the only one that needs to be awake and aware. It's all of us. No matter who any of us are, we need to become more awake, more aware of what we're feeling, how we're choosing, where's that coming from, and then there'll be change and evolution. So, have I been talking and sharing too much? I could go on and on and on. You can see I was told what my message was today. Change. Wow, I saw that burst of light. So, what do you think about change? How are you in relationship to changing? Anybody else want to share? Maybe not everyone's still here. That's all right. It's very okay. Yes, today it's just talking, but powerful awareness and wisdom at the same time. Where does awareness come from? Well, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? Where does awareness come from? Does anyone who's still on there? And Chase is saying, I am releasing a lot of emotions and old beliefs. Excellent. You know, Chase, that is what it's all about. And kudos to you. I was always the emotional one. And I've met some emotional people, and I do tell them the story. That same teacher who had not paid attention to me, you can imagine why. Um, thanks, Carol. And the 10 original masters, when you're learning the puja to be able to do the bija, you learn and speak and have to sound the 10 original masters. And in that, he would share about how they would all sit in a circle and speak. Well, Trodigam, which is the last one that you mentioned, was the one who sat and cried. And when we were done years later, he told me, he says, have you figured out who you were yet? And I go, no. He goes, well, you're Trodigam. You're the one that cries, that feels all the emotions, but you're doing it not for you, for the world. So I give that to you, Chase. Perhaps you're not doing it just for you, but perhaps for the world. And Barbie's letting me know that she's listening. Thank you, dear. So, how's about that? It's interesting because it came along one day, a picture of Babaji sitting with people in a circle. And I'd have to let you see it if you wouldn't say that one of them did look like me. Who's to know? Babaji is such a wonderful being. You need help? You call Babaji's name 3 times from your heart and he will be there in an instant. And he is known to create some very powerful miracles. Barbara says she loves hearing stories of my experiences. I was never comfortable with change. But lately circumstances have pretty much forced me into facing and gracefully accepting change. Again, beautiful writing, Barbara, and I understand and can feel that which is behind it. Yeah, the world's changing. Don't fool yourself. You're going to change kicking and screaming, even if you don't think you're ever going to. It's going to happen. Where I am today is nothing I planned or thought of. I was just a little girl that liked to sit up on the pond. My parents didn't get it, even though my dad was very awake. He could move things. He had powerful gifts, the 7th son, and that's where my gifts apparently were inherent from. I knew which parent to pick, I guess. But you never know what's hidden inside of all of you. Not until you go and have the experience and then have the awakening. Wow, this is different. Barbara Ward, it's just very powerful that you can recognize it and feel the difference. And I can just see you walking forward. And Carol, to be able to put it into such beautiful wording, it's wonderful. And Chase, to be able to speak of that, releasing is powerful. So it's part of the healing, part of the channel. What can I say? So let me see. I don't have to keep you much more unless you have something you would like me to talk about. I'll certainly try to give you time to write it if there is. It was just brought back to me the first time I channeled, which to me, channeling is being so aligned with who you're speaking that you speak their voice. It's not that you write something down and just speak it normally later. I don't consider that channeling, just so we have clarity. So my higher self was a male, and I had very long hair, so I had it all wrapped up in the back in basic clothing. And I laugh at myself now in trying to look the part. That was a lot of years ago, and certainly profound things were spoken. And even that, there's an evolution that occurs for every time you heal. There's a difference in that which words come through and which speak. Not to say that any of it isn't good or powerful, but it's the person who is in that continual growing. No matter who and how you perceive or feel, that you never stop. For me, I took 3 years off to have my channel be clear. We had moved, and it was just a good, perfect time for me to just sit and do the work DK gives you to do, so that I knew, like if you ask me, where does something come from? I know exactly where it comes from. And not people today seem to have the need to have that. I know where it is in my aura that it comes through. I know who it is. And that's what I would encourage. One of the most powerful things to make sure you do for yourself, if you see that you're going to be I won't even say a channeler, but a giver of truth. You want to develop that truth. You want to be assured of that truth. You want to believe in it and know. And it's not always that I'm happy with what I see that comes. I'm not about being the one that changes things. It must be how it is. So, be happy with your life however it is today. Not saying not to be unhappy or not to allow unhappiness. I'm saying know that there's more. As you begin to get those chakras balanced and they're humming a new tune, and your parts of the organs and all that are connected to all that start to feel better and aren't in resistance, that's where your real happiness will be. And then when you go into a quiet space, you'll hear your truth. You won't hear the illusions from everything that's bubbling and gurgling all over the place, you see. So, today's been a day about learning about change. Yes. My friends, at some point in the beginning, because my name changed a lot, but from Theo to TheoSophia, not like a lot like a big change. I didn't go from Sally to Susie. But they were growths. They were developments and becoming even more. And I can't tell you why, but it was important to me to be who I was spiritually. And to know exactly when that piece came, I don't know if I could point out. Because people started saying it to me. Oh, you were born Cynthia to become Thea. You fell into sin. And I would and then it was like in 3 short periods of time. So what would you do? I decided my name was Thea. And then I began to know, and I guess that was about the time I met the crystal Max. I don't know if any of you've ever met him. There was a lady who channeled his energy that spoke, and I just couldn't get an appointment with her fast enough. I knew that he knew the next secret for me. And she didn't know what was after Thea, but she did say to me, as Max through her, no, your name's not Mary. Well, get this. I went to an expo and everyone would come up to me. I was doing like little readings, and they would say, you must be Mother Mary. I can see the blue scarf over your head. And I go, no, I'm sorry. I mean, that's the first time people use the word mother towards me. And then, I don't remember if I can remember exactly how it happened. But I told you how Mary Baker Eddy, did you hear it? Mary Baker, Eddie, is who I was in my last life. So no, my name wasn't Mary now, but it had been Mary. And I was Mary of Bethany. So that moment from Max the Crystal Skull, who made such a point out of nowhere, well, no, your name's not Mary now. No, now it's not. But it had been. It has been. So, Spirit, I worked a lot with Merlin. He is a trickster. He likes to teach you through the magic of the puzzle. So I was used to having those kind of things thrown at me to have to try to think and figure them out. Don't know. So, I see there's no new questions. So, I'm Arby and Barbara and Carol and Chase. Probably the four that I see up here, and grateful to anyone else who's still listening out there in TV land, right? There's always those. And Kathy, if you left to go to work, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. You see, you can't just sit and write these things. They just come from inside you. They just come. Apparently, the heavens today knew that you all needed to understand change and to be easy with it. You are going to change. It's a definite. Because that's who you are. That's why you're here. There's no mistake you came to Earth. Not only class 101, but to graduate. Right? Why not? I'm sure every one of you was someone that wanted to get through that high school. No doubt. So, many blessings. See you on Monday. Where are we traveling to then with the Eye of Horus? I don't know yet, so I can't tell you, but I'm sure it'll be great. See you. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter. Blessings to all things. Bye-bye. And the last thing Chase says here is we are grateful for sharing your wisdom with us. And it just fills my heart, Chase, truly. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you so much. God bless you.